Welcome back to yet another Buffalo Bills pregame. It's your host, Randy. I'm here with Jared doing all the analysis, and we're so glad to be back after another Bills victory. Primetime game, Monday Night Football. The Bills did everything you wanted them to do and more. Super Bowl, right, Jared?
I'll tell you, I think they could definitely pull it off if the circumstances fell the right way.
All right, well, anything's possible. Highlights of the game for me, the third quarter curse, or whatever you want to call it, our inability to make positive adjustments after halftime, that seemed to disappear entirely. Is that a thing of the past now, or you think fluke 1 week we got through it?
I think fluke 1 week we got through it because at the very beginning of it, the 49ers started driving and I was like, oh no, here we go again. And then we scored a couple of times and made it better. But there was that brief moment where I'm like, oh no, here comes the fluke again.
Any other highlights from the game that you thought of?
It was just such a dominating win. Nothing really jumps out at me in anything as a highlight per se. You know what I mean? It was just dominance all the way. It was good to not see a Hail Mary. And overall, though they did keep it interesting, they kept coming back. There was a lot of back and forth scoring, not a lot of punts. We didn't have a punt till the end of the game. And Josh Allen, oh my God, 80% completions, 375 yards, 4 touchdowns. He is doing so amazing. Words can't describe it.
MVP season?
You know what's so funny about the national media? At the beginning of the season, it was MVP, and then he had those 2 bad games against the Titans and the Chiefs, and it was oh, Josh Allen has a lot of work to do, everybody, and now it's MVP again. So at any given week, so is he going to be the MVP this year? No, he's not. I'm not even going to partake in that discussion.
There's not any path. They win out. No way he gets voted in MVP.
The only way is if we actually go to the Super Bowl. Because they named the MVP the night before the Super Bowl. And then there's the whole MVP curse, which is the MVP does not win the Super Bowl. That's a thing. So then we'd have to hope that they give it to Russell Wilson or somebody else. It's we don't give it down. And then maybe we'll win the Super Bowl.
All right. Well, rather than speculating months in advance, let's skip into a few days in advance as we get ready to take on Pittsburgh Sunday night. The Pittsburgh game last season was a bit of a highlight, going there and beating them up pretty good. Do you like the Bills' chances playing them at home this week?
Well, at first when I saw that on the schedule, I thought, oh no, it's at home. The Steelers are going to want their revenge this year. It's going to be half the stadium's going to be full of terrible towels. And obviously, look, I'm like everybody else. I want to see these primetime games in Buffalo. And this is the only primetime game besides the Thursday night football game, which got moved to Monday anyway, is in Buffalo at night. So I want to keep seeing this. But, with the reality of how the Pittsburgh Steelers fans travel, I was like, is it really that great of an advantage? But now, since there's no fans, I ironically think we actually have a better advantage than we would have if we actually had the fans there. Not saying anything negative against Bills Mafia, of course, but the Steelers fans just know how to be obnoxious. Out of all the fans I've met, of all the teams, the Steelers fans are the most obnoxious. So having a home game without the Steelers fans there, I think, is almost a blessing for the Bills.
Pittsburgh coming off a big game themselves, having lost their first game of the season to Washington. Do you like facing them after their first loss, or would you rather them win that game and still looking to maintain the streak?
It's funny. I think they were almost not hoping to lose, but I'm sure the pressure of going 16-0 was getting to them. And you could sort of tell in the last couple games they played, even against the Ravens, they were just kind of muddling their way through. They even had a close game against the Cowboys a few weeks back, and that made me think oh, maybe when they come into Buffalo, we'll take them out. But of course, the Washington football team beat us to the punch. It's very hard for me to see the Steelers losing twice especially because they didn't have the running back the last couple of weeks because he's in the COVID-19 protocol, James Conner. But I'm sure he'll be back this week too. But without that, I'm just thinking that it's hard just for the 2 weeks in general. That's kind of the thing.
Well, all we can do is hope. The Bills' offense has been playing really well, but so has the Steelers' defense. What do we have to do to take advantage of a strong defense coming into this week?
Well, the Steelers' defense is the number 1 defense in the league. Now we've played a few other comparable defenses, like for example, the Rams' defense is slightly better a passing defense than the Steelers' defense. And what's interesting about that is we passed pretty well against the Rams week 3. So the way I see it is if we can have a very similar game plan to what we did against the Rams, I think we could do pretty well against the Steelers. I know they had a couple injury issues during the game against Washington. I believe Haden went out, and then their middle linebacker also went out. And that freed up some offensive opportunities for Washington. We can't really guarantee everything like that falls into place on Sunday. But I think if we stick to that passing game, because the Bills are one of the best passing teams in the league. So if we can stick to that, I think we can have a chance to take them out. Because, I mean, we're not going to get anywhere rushing. I mean, they're in the top 10 for rushing defense. So running the ball, we're not going to get our first 100-yard game this week against the Steelers. No.
You think Milano was an improvement over A.J. Klein, who'd been playing very well?
I mean, for the most part, and I was trying to pay attention during the game, I feel like A.J. Klein was still in more. I feel like I saw more from A.J. Klein than I did Milano. I think they were just in a really good position where they didn't really know what to do. You have Milano, who's this great player, but then you have A.J. Klein, defensive player of the week. I think I made a joke on Facebook last week saying, like, good job, now sit down. You know what I mean? They're not going to do that right away when you're going to play the guys who's doing well, or at least they should. So they interworked both of them. Like Milano had a really good play at one point. I mean, A.J. Klein had a few good plays. I think they're just trying to, intermix them as much as they can, trying to figure out what the best way to do it. I know off camera you had spoken to me about the possibility of doing like a nickel odd formation, like a 3-3-3. And trust me, getting Quenton Jefferson off the field, like I'm not shedding any tears for that. The only thing is I worry about like if the Steelers have Conner and they're able to have their rushing attack, how will a nickel odd really be good to stop that? And I don't know. I'd rather have more guys on the line, to be honest. I also feel that Trent Murphy, I think we need him back. I think we need more rotation there, like where we keep making him a healthy scratch. And I think he's learned his lesson, guys. We can let him back on the field, okay? But I worry more so about. I mean, the rushing attack of the Steelers is good, but I worry about their passing attack too. Claypool's been awesome this year. JuJu Smith-Schuster is also an amazing receiver. Somebody I wanted the Bills to take, of course, before they trade up for Zay Jones, but I digress.
Allen is most often compared to Roethlisberger. Given the choice out of the two quarterbacks coming into this game, advantage has to be for Allen, right?
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, okay, there's two parts to that. One, I always get mad at that comparison because I'm like, you know what? Ben Roethlisberger isn't running around like Josh Allen is. Ben Roethlisberger isn't hurdling linebackers or bull rushing through people. He's just a big guy. He's hard to bring down, and he throws the ball really well, and he inspires confidence in his team. The latter half is what Ben and Josh have in common, not the former half. Josh Allen can do so much more than Ben Roethlisberger does. The comparison really annoys me. Now, that being said, the Steelers are night and day with Ben Roethlisberger being back this year versus last year. Now, I can't imagine you not being able to say the same thing about Allen. Like, I know you love Matt Barkley. I know he's like your favorite player in the history of the league. But if
second to Vince Young, but carry on.
Okay. But my point is that like if Matt Barkley had to take over for the rest of the season, I think there'd be a significant drop. I don't think we're good. I just don't think that happens. So I think they're both really needed for the team. Like both of them. Can Matt Barkley win a game for the Bills? Obviously, yes, because he did a few years ago. But I wouldn't count on that every week.
All right. Well, what's your prediction for this week?
Um, like I said at the very beginning of this, I do not see the Steelers losing 2 weeks in a row. Could they lose? Absolutely. I just don't see it, though. I'm going to go with the Steelers, unfortunately, 28-21.
Oof. Oh, man. We thought we had a chance to. All right. I'll make up for it, though. Don't worry, Bills fans. I have the Bills winning 27-24. And it's going to be a tough game, but I don't know. We can't lose.
Yeah, hopefully not. Yeah, I mean, we have a tough schedule down the stretch. I mean, I don't know if you want to get into it or not, but like we have a lot of competition going into the latter half of the season. So,
Well, good thing that we'll be back next week or the next week after that.
the week after that, the Denver game does not count as a primetime game per se. So the next game will be week 16. We'll be back against the Patriots, and at that point, we'll have a much better idea what the playoff scenarios are, and we'll be going through all of that for you.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Thank you so much, Jared. And thank you so much for listening. We'll see you soon. Bye.